Norman Dolph. This is New York City in 2001. And a number of years ago, we did what became the Banana album.
Hello and welcome to Artifacts, a living archive dedicated to preserving the first-person stories of queer, avant-garde, and underground culture, told by those who lived it. Today's episode is part of our series Silver Factory, an enthralling journey through Andy Warhol's factory, whose inhabitants included an array of characters from socialites to superstars and speed freaks. This episode features Norman Dolph, the record producer, mobile DJ to the downtown art world, and business executive whose quiet but decisive role helped bring the Velvet Underground to the world. In 1966, while working at Columbia Records, he financed and facilitated the recording of their legendary debut, The Velvet Underground and Nico, forever known as the Banana album. Dolph takes us behind the scenes at Scepter Studios during the taping of one of the most influential albums of the 20th century. In this 2001 interview, Dolph shares his experience of being amidst the budding downtown art scene in New York City, and the musical genesis that he helped create with Andy Warhol and the Velvet Underground.
Well, at that point in time, I was working for Columbia Records, which became CBS Records and is now Sony and all that. And so I had a lot of records. And at that point in time in England, the whole disco thing, which is now Spy Who Shagged Me and all of that, was just starting to happen. And so I got the idea to start a mobile disco in New York as a kind of a part-time job, because I had all the records. And so I built a rig and started doing jobs around. This would have been about 63, 64, something like that. So I was the first really mobile-only DJ. And I did parties all around, and I had been sort of a half-ass art collector since college. The art crowd at that point in time, everybody would have loft parties all the time. They have an opening, and it wasn't now like where a loft has $2 million worth of stuff in it, and everybody's paranoid about people they don't know. And this, you'd have the word would spread from Finelli's, and the party would move from one to the other. And so I had a standing deal that I would do music for parties in exchange for small work of art. And I accumulated hundreds of things over that way. This is before Soho really started, because the first person in Soho was Paula Cooper. And literally, Ivan Karp with his was, I think it might be arguable really who was the true first one, but they were both there within a matter of months. But Paula Cooper, I did a lot of things for her. And that led to Frosty Myers, and that led to Max's Kansas City. So I knew Ivan as a collector, and he knew about my disco business. And I don't remember where the first one I did that involved the Warhol bunch, but I know probably the first big one was there was a party at the Institute for Contemporary Art in Philadelphia, and that party has been written up in a lot of quarters, and it was a monstrous party. It was huge. In fact, if you want your heart broken in two, in exchange for that job, I got paid in a Warhol Dracula kiss, and it did not survive my divorce. I sold it for a modest amount of dough. I mean, modest. And that sucker went at auction less than 6 months ago, the highest price ever for a Warhol on paper of $835,000 on paper, and I owned it. But in any event, I'm a lot happier than I would have been with its other co-owner.
Exactly.
Anyway, and because as I was working for Columbia, I had hundreds of records to choose from that a lot of people wouldn't ordinarily get at. So it was fun, and word of mouth spread, and one artist would go for the next, and I had Oldenburgs and Lichtensteins and Bryce Martin and Malcolm Morley and all kinds of people. But the party I remember as a key kind of an event.
Yeah.
In my experience with him, he like runs the gamut of human emotion from A to B. I mean, he was always pretty much the same. Just like right now, you're sort of laughing in a light way. He would laugh in a lighter way. I mean, you had the feeling that everything just kind of went through and out again. I don't know. And the funny thing too that's strange to me is that you know, back in that point in time, gayness or not was not the thing that it is today. And all of those movies, the Chelsea Girls and My Hustler and all of those, were really considered really something else. And the funny part about it is that that once somebody tells you the idea behind them, then it's perfect. And until somebody tells you the idea about it, if you don't discover it yourself, and I must say somebody told me, I think it was Ivan, you think this is inane. But apparently when Warhol made the original movies, the black and white movies, the object was not really to sit in a theater and watch them. The object was to make a picture that hung on the wall that was always the same picture, but it wasn't really always the same picture. You'd look at the Empire State Building, and you'd go to work in the morning, and it would be sunset, and then the loop would come around, you'd come back at night, and it would be sunrise, and it's always the Empire. But it changed just enough to engage you. And the whole idea of subtle change over time was the same idea as 200 soup cans, which was a subtle change over space. And in that sense, those movies were incredible. You just sort of catch a little and you catch a little more, and it is wonderful. But Warhol himself came across as absolutely asexual, just absolutely as though looking and voyeuring and being John Malkovich curious about sex and all that stuff was what he enjoyed doing as a pastime. But the idea of actual deep, hard gay involvement, if you look at Warhol, you didn't get that impression from him at all. You know, and the first movie that made any impact was the Chelsea Girls. It was strange. And you look at the thing and you say, once you get into it, you say, what a marvelous idea. All of those movies, particularly with a straight person, they always promise so much more than they deliver. That's the whole mechanism behind him, and that you keep thinking you're going to see you think you're going to see stuff that you now do see if you go over here to a 25-plex. You know, it was all fiction was imitated through reality. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. You had the feeling when you were there. I mean, I saw it, 35 years ago, and I remember it like it was this morning. So it did make an impact. I also remember that the theater wasn't very full, but it ran kind of continuously. There wasn't any showing. I mean, you could go in at X and leave at Y, and you would have seen as representative a piece of it as anybody else would. And that was what it was. They were getting ready to do the Dom, and they were looking for some sound to put in there to augment the band. And they talked to me, and I really didn't have the kind of sound equipment for public address. We had a meeting in my apartment on 56th Street, at which, I said meeting, you can't call it a meeting, but there was, Morrissey was there, and John Cale. I don't think Lou Reed was there, and one or two others of the band. Morrissey was really the spokesperson for, if you had a room full of people that included Warhol and Morrissey and John Cale, Morrissey would say probably 10 words to every 4 of John Cale to every 1.5 of Warhol. And in any event, Morrissey was kind of the spark plug of the meeting, and the question was, what were they going to call it? And I was sitting around thinking of all kinds of names to this thing. And Morrissey said, oh, well, Andy wants to call it, he thinks the erupting plastic inevitable. And that was kicked around and thought, no, that wasn't quite right. And then finally it was decided the exploding plastic inevitable was the one. I don't think they left with that as the definitely taken decision that afternoon. But I remember they were debating whether it should be the erupting or the exploding. This dome was perfect for what they wanted to do. And I find myself down on 8th Street every now and then, and over the 35 years, that place has recycled from a dive to a joint and back to a dive again. It was ideal. It was a place that was kind of like a movie theater without seats, that somebody stripped the seats out of to make a dance floor in. But it had a balcony around it, and so up in this balcony, they were armed with light show equipment and put on light shows on the top. And I actually think that the light shows there were even in advance of the Fillmore. I mean, when the Fillmore was up and running, they had light shows like that all the time, a wet show. It was exactly as you see it. I mean, the Stern did all these slides and wet shows. And Gerard Malanga had the 16 millimeter projector like you would be in a high school in the 50s, with big reels of stuff. They would, about the size of a small television set, and he's carting the thing around and waving it and flagging images all over people, and he'd zoom in and out, and anybody who was wearing white would have some horror story projected on him, and he would do his whip dance, which was a unique thing to behold. I never had any feel from Gerard in the dance and all that it was had any kind of gay overtones at all. That it was far more it was the closest thing you'd find it to. I mean, this may seem like a strange comparison, is flamenco. Where it would be done with a gypsy, where it was as masculine a thing as you could imagine, without giving a damn about anything, and it was that was what I took it for. As I remember, you certainly ask him, he'd give you a better answer than I, but he didn't like Mapplethorpe his whip or anything like that. He was using it as in the same kind of sense you see these Chinese acrobats with long threads that are whirling them, and they make patterns in the air and that sort of thing. So there was no question that it was a man and it was male, and that it was assertive and aggressive and a whip, but and it was something that you hadn't seen before. But it was not revolting in any way. You know what I mean? You had a sense watching that band that it was a passionate thing, and it was not a thing amongst them that was affected, in the sense that you now, or later, years later, in their wake, you have a sense that a band could say, well, all I got to do is go act weird and passionate about it, and I will be treated as Velvet Underground, who was weird and passionate about what they were doing. But in that case, the passion was real, and the question also in my mind, because I wasn't then and I'm not now, and I haven't really been in between, any kind of a big drug guy, but you had a sense that Lou Reed knew what he was talking about. In other words, this was not a guy doing an A&E about the life behind heroin and that sort of thing. But it wasn't like Tim Buckley or anybody else either, who was half on the nod, that you thought he's like waking up from some kind of stupor in order to sing about being in a stupor. He wasn't that way at all. You had a feeling that he had put whatever was in the songs behind him, and but then he was sort of utilizing that experience to say something. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what all good creative writers and painters do. Mm-hmm. And there was a big contrast in my mind, between him and John Cale. There's no question that of all of them, John Cale was the musical one. The only person that would talk about chord changes in E flat or any of that kind of thing, or that would play a little passage in order, should we do it this way or that way, was John Cale. Everybody else was playing what they were playing out of their own, out of the place they came from. When the band got together, they wanted to make a record, and I was working for Columbia, and they said, well, what do we do? How do we go about that? And I said, well, I don't know. I'll put together something, and I'll finance the session, and you can have the tapes, and I'll do it in exchange for a painting. And they said, fine. So it seems to me that I put up $600 in cash for that session. And the deal was, at this studio at Scepter, that's where they recorded Dionne Warwick, and they had a big string of hit records out of that studio with Dionne Warwick. They also recorded a lot of gospel. So the engineer had the deal that he was paid a salary and did for them, but at any time when that studio wasn't booked, he could sell the time to the outside world, and if the outside world paid for materials, the guy'd pocket the time, and that was like his raise or his perk or his spiff or whatever. So we did it in 4 days, end to end.
Did Sterling Morrison come in? He played.
That's right. He was in the meeting that we had at my apartment, and he was there, but he was. You didn't have a sense that he was a Ringo Starr kind of a persona, that whatever the bunch kind of went along with, he did. And Mo, the drummer, she was the quietest person that I ever saw. I mean, very nice girl, but I don't think I actually heard her utter 6 words aloud, you know. The other thing that I found strange is in seeing the film biography of Nico, from 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, that the picture of her in that is so much different than what I remember in my experience. And she was treated with a delicacy and a respect that was really, really strange. And this whole conflagration of stuff going on in between takes and so forth, it was like you were dealing with Callista Flockhart or some such. It was. No, I mean really, and she was not a different person speaking than she was singing. Still that quiet, breathy, reserved thing, but it wasn't as though you had a sense, now I'm going to put on the mask and sing, and then when she wasn't, she was the same kind of quiet person, but everybody treated her as though a beautiful, in some sense regal woman had somehow walked into this recording studio where everybody else was all just making noise. But she was mild-mannered and in great contrast to a lot of the other people around her. I don't know if she was there for every minute of every session. John Cale would know that better than I, but I do recall that when she wasn't actually performing, she didn't say a word. She was either in the control room or sitting in the corner, or she was not, running around trying to make herself obvious, and in the true producer of the thing would have to be Lou Reed, in the sense that I made sure all the mix was right and nobody touched any knobs, and that the tape was rolling, and said, okay, take one, and I paid the bill. So in that sense, I'm the producer. But the judgment of what was the right one was Lou Reed's and John Cale's. There's no question about that.
Do you remember anything about their agreement or disagreement about those kind of matters?
I'll answer that, but I want to say something first, and that is that in talking to another producer at one time in career, I don't know, we're looking out at through the glass at the musicians on the other side, you know. He looks at me and says, damn, man, I can't understand what they're saying. And he says, yes, but isn't it amazing that each other they can, you know? And you would see a lot of dialogue going back and forth, but everybody had a common purpose of getting this thing done quickly because A, we didn't have an unlimited amount of studio time, and I'm trying to hype it along because they didn't have an unlimited amount of money, and they knew what all of the songs they recorded they had performed live steadily for quite a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks at least, and so it wasn't as though it's the 5th Stevie Wonder album and let's get some guys down and make a track and then I'll figure out what I'm going to sing over it. And there was none of that because they knew what they wanted to do. And I believe the master is a 4-track master. It's either a 3-track master or a 4-track master on half-inch tape. And because I'm 90% sure they didn't have an 8-track at that point in time.
Okay.
It was certainly no 48-track digital, blah, 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 no.
Did it require much technical knowledge on your part to know enough to set the dials and all of that? I mean, how high-tech was this?
Well, again, John actually had his hand on the knobs, but the console in the studio was a typical 50/60 console. In other words, only in that point in time, in the little record labels usually went out to studios, A&R and other places, and rented studio time from studios that were probably a little better equipped. And it was probably only when you got to Motown did you find a guy that owned his own studio that really went whole hog with it. But so this studio was the state of the art circa 1962. It might even been an all-tube studio. They were making mono records, made money by Barrett Strong there, and they made, a lot of stuff that in the studio was quite adequate to produce what Scepter Records could sell a lot of, and I believe the decision to put the stereo in there, the 4-track, was because of Dionne Warwick, and they did a lot of dates there. It would have been a small studio for big strings. They may have done really bigger ones outside, but and then I don't know exactly when Scepter went under, as it were, but it was a number of years later. I mean, literally the day before and the day after we were doing this, the Shirelles were in doing the Soldier Boy or something like that, and it was, or Shirley Caesar maybe. Even they had a lot of gospel they did there. It was a great room for gospel. Seems to me there was one day of mix at all of it, and I don't know. I believe we cut it all before they mixed any. I don't know that they mixed at the end of a day. I think it was all cut and then mixed. It was probably 4 days over the span of about 7. It wasn't like all-nighters, four 24-hour days. It was because we had to fit in bits and scraps of time that they had left over, and also where he hadn't been doing an all-nighter to be, unawake and unable to do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was. I seem to remember the thing being done in modest chunks of 4 to 6 hours. And I'll say this: Lou Reed and Cale were all business. I mean, there was no. You asked a question about were there arguments or disagreements or this and the other thing. You had a sense that if there were any disagreements, as soon as they were, it must have been like Budapest String Quartet or some such, as all of the argument is done off stage, but when they're on stage, they speak as one voice. There was not a lot of time wasted in between. I certainly don't remember any drugs or smoked or shot or anything during the session. Mm-hmm. Who knows what might have happened otherwise? But it was a sober, business-like deal. They wanted to get it done. The real, as I mentioned to you also, I don't know what happened to the outtakes. I have a suspicion I know where they are, but there aren't many outtakes because we'd get rolling on something, and if it really was way off, either John or I would break it down. They'd start over, and so they. And I believe the heroine and I'm Waiting for the Man were done in one take. If they weren't done in one take, they were done in a complete take, because and I remember that especially because when he was finished with that, he just walked away from each other for a while, you know. But yeah, and but it was a no-nonsense deal, and Warhol was there in the background. Warhol at that point in time, and if he were alive today, he'd still be doing it, I guess, carried a little cassette recorder, and probably if you found those tapes, those are the tapes, like they probably got an 18-minute gap in them someplace, but those are the tapes that would really tell the story, because he was running his little cassette machine during the recording and the playback, and so we put the thing together. Then I took it to Columbia and we cut some reference acetates, and I still have, again in the basement, I have the memorandum from Columbia where they turned it down, and it was turned down. It was corporately worded, but between the line you could read somebody say, "What the fuck is this?" You know, and which, you know, all great art, every bit of it. The very first response anybody has to really great art is, that isn't art. You know what I mean? And only after a while does it become art.
Artifacts is a free oral histories platform. Please like, subscribe, and visit our website, www.artifacts.movie, for an ad-free, interactive experience with bonus content. If you're able, please make a tax-deductible donation at www.artifacts.movie/donate. Hit the link on screen to watch another Artifacts interview.